So you did talk with them about it? Okay. I have not approached him yet.
Yeah, they do. Hey, Lydia, I better make sure that
First time
Melanie
you
knows.
showed up. That's a
Well,
good idea.
and I really need it for this one because of the new,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. David, don't you look good? Are you giving a sermon? Very
He's
nice.
going dancing.
LCA's night. Yeah.
Look sharp.
Hopefully you can keep it nice.
I know, that's like,
That would be
don't
me.
spill, don't.
That would have been, yeah, I like it.
Diane was showing me. I think we can start, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I think we can. Good morning. If you'd all rise, we'll start today's Board of Works meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
I do want to thank my staff, the department heads, and our first two board members for your patience as we've transitioned from Board Pack, which we've been using for almost forever, and we're now using a different method of handling our agenda with Civic Plus, and it is very different. And so I want to thank the board for your patience and willingness to work through this, as well as those watching. There could be some hiccups here, we'll see. It's, I am the old dog, and this is a new trick here. So the first item that I do see is the minutes from our October 18th meeting. I believe, George, you were absent at this
Well,
meeting.
sir, it was you and I, so
Mhm,
they
it
look
was.
correct as submitted to me.
I'll let you make the second.
Okay, I'll second that. Is that a motion to
Yes, that's a
approve?
motion to
I'll
approve.
second that. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
There you go. Print it if you need.
Again, I want to welcome all the visitors that are here today. There are no reports or written. There is no unfinished business. And that will take us into new business. And I think we're going to start with the street department. We have some sealed quotes. Lynn, help me out.
Well, I will help you out by opening them without cutting myself. So we received 3 bids for this, and the first one we received is from Hawk Enterprises.
Okay? So this is Hawk Enterprises from Crown Point, Indiana. The bid amount is $426,189. The bid amount is $426,189. This again is from Hawk Enterprises from Crown Point, Indiana.
So on this one, Mayor, this is from Midwestern Electric, and make sure that they have the, yeah, they do. They have the right location.
Nice, right on the
Midwestern Electric LLC. The bid amount is $397,422. $397,422.
And our last one is from Michiana Contracting.
I love this cover page. Did you come up with this?
It's a lot
Sure,
easier
I
for-
came up with it, yeah.
Linda and I were.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's very helpful for me, good, so,
Maybe
Um,
Aaron did that, I don't know.
no.
He did, or maybe Dustin Dillon did that.
Michiana Contracting from Plymouth, Michiana Contracting, Inc. from Plymouth, Indiana. Traffic signal again, Main Street and Lake. Their bid amount is $360,642. That is $360,642 from Michiana Contracting, Inc.
Just like to request permission to take these under advisement. We'll have Aaron and I review them, as well as our engineering team with USI to review, make sure all bids are responsible, and come back at the next meeting with a potential award.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Lynn?
We have more bids.
Yes, we do.
This is
County
for.
Road 200 North, right?
Yes, and we have received 2 bids, and the first one is from G&G Hauling and Excavating, Inc. Man, these things are upstairs, G&G. I really need a sharper knife.
While we're opening them, Dustin, which intersection is this? Like,
The one we just opened? Yep, it was
No.
a traffic signal modernization at
no, the
Lake.
200 North bit.
Okay, so this is at the east of 30 where the Parkview Health has got a development going on over there. So
Yes.
we needed to make some improvements to our roadway.
Oh, okay, right where
To
that
prepare for the traffic
construction is.
for those developments that are, yeah.
Since I drive that almost every day, I was just curious.
Well, I don't think you're gonna be driving it every day here.
No,
for a
I'm not
while.
driving it right now, that's correct.
Yeah, you won't be.
Taking the long way.
Okay, this is from G&G Hauling. G&G Hauling. And the total amount is $112,370. $112,370 total base bid. That's from G&G Hauling. $112,370.
And then our last bid is from Fenton Brown, Inc.
Fendon Brown. This again is from Fendon Brown. Total base bid amount from Fendon Brown, $107,473. $107,473. Those were the only two, Lynn?
Those were the only two.
Okay.
So this is a redevelopment commission considered project, so all we're asking for the board is to acknowledge that we opened bids today, and then Jeremy will be taking this before to the redevelopment commission. Well, we'll review and see that the bids are good, and if there is an awardable bid, it'll be done through redevelopment commission.
So your specific recommendation or motion that you need?
Just acknowledgement that we opened the bids here today.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge that the bids for the 200 North Turn Lane were opened on November 1st, 2024 during a Board of Works meeting.
Thanks, Diane. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thanks, Aaron.
Will that go on Monday for the redevelopment?
I might try to add it online and see how complicated it is.
Let's see how.
I think the deadline's over.
That's never stopped him before.
It's work that we want to do in the spring, but, you know, that's up to Jeremy how quickly he needs to get it through the process for everything.
The intent is to pay for that this year. So the PO is money for this year.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, the next item is resolution rejecting a fire merit board. And thanks, Denny. Before I have you speak, I'll have Scott explain to us what we're looking at here and why. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, so we spoke about this at the city council a few times earlier this year. Indiana House passed House Enrolled Act 1016 back in May of 2023, and what that said was that there would be a fire merit board created on January 1 of 2025 for fire departments unless both the legislative body or governing body voted by resolution to not have a merit board, and also the firemen that it was to serve voted also to not have a merit board. So if you recall, back at the time when this first came up with the city council, the fire department wanted more information and asked that we delay the vote a bit at that time so that they could hear from the fire union, from some people higher up in the state of Indiana Fire Union. And I believe they had that meeting and there was a great deal of information provided. So I think the firemen now have probably the information necessary for them to determine whether they want a merit board. But along that process, I, as the attorney, and in talking to outside legal counsel about this, who manage several other fire departments, I think the statute is unclear exactly who it is at the legislative body or the governing board who necessarily has to vote to not have a merit board. And so out of an abundance of caution, we had the city vote and the city council voted to not have a merit board so that the firemen could vote for themselves whether they wanted to have a merit board. I'm here to tell you that I think probably more properly, under the definitions of the statute of a governing board, that this board, the City of Warsaw Board of Public Works and Safety, is the governing board for the Warsaw-Wayne Township Fire Territory pursuant to the terms of our interlocal agreement. You are the ones who make decisions, if necessary, on hiring and firing, promotion, those kind of things that are set forth in the statute of what creates a governing board. But we also have the Warsaw-Wayne Fire Territory Board, and because this is an important thing, I'm making the recommendation that it be brought before the city council and the Board of Public Works and the Fire Territory Board, to give all three groups the opportunity to decide whether they want to say yes to a resolution that would turn down a merit board system and allow the firemen to vote on whether or not they want a merit board system, to leave it in the firemen's hands as to whether or not that's what they want. And so that's why Denny's here before you today. It's already been at a public meeting. The city council voted no for the merit system. The mayor's asking, in having met with Fire Chief Joel Schilling, that he would like to see it be a no vote. And I think that's going to be the same thing that's going to be requested of the Warsaw Wayne Fire Territory. I believe they meet Tuesday this coming week. And so I've...
Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday.
That's right. Normally Tuesday, they're going to be Wednesday. I've spoken with their attorney, Andrew Grossnickel, and he has the similar resolution to what you're going to be asked to consider. And I believe that's going to be on the agenda for the Warsaw Wayne Fire Territory, ultimately with the goal to empower the firemen to choose for themselves whether they want a merit system or not, rather than it being forced or a decision made by the city council or this board or the Fire Territory Board. But it's up to you. If you want a merit board, you could vote today and say they have to have it. But that's where we're at, and that's, I guess, what is being asked today. So I think I can answer questions about that, or Denny may be able to answer questions about that if you have questions about that. But I think this goes along completely hand in hand with what happened at the city council, that the idea was to allow the firemen to choose for themselves whether they wanted a merit board.
I appreciate your comments. And again, working through all of this over the past several weeks and here as recently as this week, we just believe it's good form that every board that's included in our interlocal agreement that was established back in 2009 gets an opportunity to look at this resolution. Diane has already considered it and voted as a council member. Now as a member of the Board of Works, we'll ask you to entertain that. George, this is your first look, and that's why I've asked Denny to come in. Scott is setting it up, but Denny to come in and explain to this board what is actually happening and what the results could be, a vote one way or the other. So thanks, Denny.
Yeah, so essentially what this law did was flip-flop the entire process of merit boards. So prior to this law being signed, a department could vote to have a merit board, but they didn't have to, but they had that option. So what this law has done is forced us to have a merit board unless we choose to decline it. So that's kind of what has happened with this law. It's been very confusing. The law actually got signed back in May of 2003, so we've been trying to get through all the wordings and legal definitions and things of that nature. So like the mayor said, just out of an abundance of caution, we're going to make sure that everybody that has involvement with the fire territory has eyes on this thing and it gets done the proper way. But essentially what this is going to do is if we reject the merit board, council already has, if you do today, and if the territory does on Wednesday, then we will schedule a vote with the members of the fire department, the 77 fund members, and then they will have a secret ballot vote and decide whether they want the merit board or not. The merit board essentially is going to be doing the same thing as this board does. They okay the hirings, discipline, promotions, things of that nature. So that's what the merit board is for, is to cover those personnel actions within the department. Been a lot of information going back and forth on how, what's right, what's wrong. Essentially, what's going to happen is there will be a board that consists of 5 individuals. And 2 of those individuals will be voted on by the members of the fire department if they choose to have the merit board. The other 3 members, one is appointed by the mayor, and then 2 others will be appointed by the boards, and we'll have to figure out which boards that it is that will appoint those folks. But essentially, that's all we get to do, is appoint members to a board, and then that board would make their own rules on how they want to conduct promotions, hiring boards, discipline, things of that nature. So that's kind of where we're at.
So Denny, just an additional part of that, if I'm correct, I think so. The appointments from the firemen and from the board that makes their appointments, I think those have to be politically balanced.
Correct.
Or not 2 from the same party,
Correct.
as many of the other boards are. That, I think so. The mayor will have his appointment, the firemen will appoint 1 from one party, 1 from a different party. The board will appoint 1 from one party and 1 from a different party.
Right.
And there'll be a total of 5. Currently, the merit board it's not a merit board, but the people who handle the issues that will come before the merit board, if it's created, is generally handled by the 3 of you.
Yes.
Well, and probably more generally handled by the fire chief, but at times handled by the 3 of you.
Which takes you to item 4 on your memo. I don't know if you're looking at it.
Yeah.
The fire chief and you and I have talked about where we are with this resolution. Any questions you have for Denny? Especially George, it's your first look at it. I know you've
Well,
been
I'm
aware
sure
of it.
there's certain fire territories and certain cities that probably seeking direction from the state and want to change stuff if they have conflict or whatever. I agree with the city attorneys and your take and Diane's take that I think we ought to reject and not, because pass the resolution rejecting, because I think this city's run well enough, and right now I think that it's in place, and to give it back to the firemen to do the merit board, I would think that's the way to go.
I think one additional information point needs to be added here, and Scott, make sure I state it correctly, but this is not a vote and then forever and ever and ever it's going to be this way. There's an option after a year to again bring this forward. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's
So essentially, we're voting on the system that we have at the current time with those people that are administering that at the current time. And if there ever would become a concern that it was not being administered correctly, there is the option to go back and revisit this after a calendar year from when it's
Correct, yeah.
approved.
And that would be just kind of going back to the way the law used to read. If they want
Yes.
to have a merit system, then we would discuss that option at that time.
Yeah, so,
Chief Schilling came to me months ago and told me that under his leadership, as well as how things are going with the fire department, that he believes it's in the best interest to support this resolution, which would reject a merit board. I don't know, Chief, you're here. I don't know if you have anything to say. And as a result of that, I'm going to make it very clear, I'll have a vote on this board today. And you were in the room with me. As soon as I said, basically, what do you want? What do you believe is best? And you've been doing a great job. And he told me that, and that's where I am. I'm supporting what he believes is best for the territory and the firefighters serving in it. Do you have anything to say today?
No, again, I just don't feel that it meets the needs of our department. But again, I would like to give the members of the fire territory the option as well. So I do support the rejection, or do support this resolution to reject the merit system, just to give them the chance and the opportunity to have their say too.
That is what this resolution will do also. It will give the members of the firefighters in the territory, it'll give them an opportunity to actually vote on it as well. So it does empower them.
Are you okay with this?
I'll make a
Well,
motion.
before that, because it is a public meeting and because we do have some firefighters here, I do want to allow, if anybody, they may not, they've spoken before, but individually, would any of them like to make any comments? I think that's important. And anybody else that would like to speak. It's an important issue, and appreciate several of the firefighters coming in today, and I know several of you have spoken before. And would anybody like to now, as we continue to work through this, and again, I just think good form, trying to do the right thing for the territory, moving forward. Okay. All right, sorry I interrupted you, but I wanted
No,
to
thank
give them the
you. Yeah.
opportunity.
That's
Diane?
actually what this is all about, to give them a voice, so.
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-11-01.
And I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further comments, Denny? Nope, I'm good. Scott, thanks for your help. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to the next item, which is Nick,
Yep.
an MOU with the county. Help take us through this. A lot of work here. Appreciate
Yeah.
your efforts. What are we looking at here?
Well, the MOU in front of you has been something we've been working on for a while with the county, the airport partnering with them for some additional funding for some projects that we are working on. So the county has agreed to provide $500,000 in funding to the Warsaw Municipal Airport. Of that 500,000, 400 is going towards our runway 927 runway obstruction mitigation project, more commonly known as the Power Line Project. So that will be a portion of the city's share of that project that we are hoping to be breaking ground next week sometime to have the foundations put in for those towers. And then weather depending, it'll either be end of December, beginning of January, and that project will be completely finished. So it's going to be a really quick project once we get everything started. Second portion, they will be contributing towards an airport overlay district. This will not only help the city planning office, but also the county planning office. And it is the best way to describe it is it looks like an upside down wedding cake over the top of the county, and it will provide developers with very, very clear boundaries of where they can and cannot build altitude-wise in relation to the airport. It will show all of our different runway protection zones, safety areas, approach zones. And since we border the city and the county, it just makes sense to have both units of government funding that. And then the third thing will be a self-serve fuel farm. So we will be partnering with them. We're estimating the project cost will be right around $100,000 when it is all said and done. What this will allow is our 100 low lead, we will be putting in anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 gallon 100 low lead tank that will have a credit card reader similar to what you would have at a gas station that we are used to, and will allow our tenants to take fuel after hours. In the summertime, nice weather, we could have sunshine until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And since we close at 7, this will just allow our customers to be able to top their aircraft off before putting it away. Most pilots like to keep the tanks full overnight because it just helps with condensation within the tanks. And so we're hoping this will boost our sales and revenue as well. So any other questions, I'd be happy to take those.
I just have a question about how an MOU works in terms of, I know you have specific quotes already on some things, but those things that you don't, I didn't see in here that it said that it would be a 50-50 split. I see specific numbers here. Is that just?
Correct. So to go back and do the account, I'll use the runway obstruction project. It would take a lot of effort to go back almost 40 years and figure out how much money the city has put into this. It is well over $500,000. We are continually putting into this project as well. This 400,000 is just to help us with the capital project of actually installing the power lines. So right now, the last estimate we received on that project total was $7.8 million. The city's share would be 5% of that project, which would come out to approximately 380,000, somewhere in that range. And so that 400,000 is going to get us across that finish line for that project.
Okay.
If there is money left over, once these projects are complete, I will go back to the county commissioners and request to use this money towards a different project. What this MOU will do is allow Lynn to put that money into our airport general operating fund 2206 to use that money for these projects that they've been designated for.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Nick?
Very important, the
Yeah.
airport.
Nick, appreciate your work on this. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, George.
No, I was just,
Yeah, thank you.
One of the things that I will just add to this agreement already has opened avenues for other additional grant programs because we're able to get some of these studies out of the way and the engineering. One of the projects, because this money freed up money out of my budget that we had allocated towards these projects, we were able to get our east-west runway. We're working on the design to do a mill and fill or a reconstruction on that. If there's additional grant money left over next year, which we are being told there could be through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law Act that Congress passed, having bids in hand and that project ready to go will set us 6 months ahead of all of the other airports competing for that money, and it'll just set us in a lot better position to be able to go after a $5 or $6 million grant next year. So it's really, really helped us, leap forward 2 or 3 years in some of our projects. So I'd like to thank the county and the city
Yeah, I'll do
on
the
this
same
vote.
thing. I mean, the key here, Nick has in the memo, the benefits to everybody, city and county, is partnership. That word caught my attention. And the county's willingness to work with us, it's going to have to continue, not just this, but other projects for the good of the entire community. I greatly appreciate it. This is not blazing new territory, but we're in new territory here. And I just really like that idea. We're partnering to serve all the taxpayers in this community, so.
I'll make a motion, we accept the memorandum of understanding with Kosciuszko County for the airport project.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to accept the MOU. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to thank Attorney Royst as well for all of his assistance through all of this. I appreciate it, Scott.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Scott. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, guys.
Next item, Gatke demolition. Jeremy, thank you, sir.
Yes, you have a payment request in front of you for $312,500 to cover the Gatke demolition as part of our agreement with Rebar Development. Back a few years ago, we agreed to pay for the cost of that demolition, but it was under their purview to complete the demolition. So if you've driven by there, you can see that the buildings are down. So I'm just requesting that this payment be made in that amount, and it was budgeted for 2024 to come out of the Riverboat Fund. So that claim and that dollar amount is attached to this memo.
And the amount again is $312,500?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Gatke demolition.
No.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve this pay application for $312,500 for the Gatke demolition project.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further comments, Jeremy?
No, we are moving rapidly ahead on the Gatke project. The intent is to close on the bonds about mid-November. They are closing on their financing next week. George will have a lot of documents to sign probably on Monday as I prepare those. But yeah, so the project is moving quickly, and hopefully we can get some footers in the ground yet this year.
That's incredible. Thanks, Jeremy. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item here Anchorage Road, pay application. Jeremy, is this you too?
Yes, so this is
Thank you.
pay application 41 from Structure Point for the ongoing Anchorage Road engineering in the amount of $120. This is a 20% or 80/20, so we'll pay 20% and reimburse 80%. As that project is currently it's in the utility relocation phase, so I'm sure everybody's noticed there's been a lot of work out there. All of those include moving the poles.
Hi, Diane.
The various underground utilities as well, with the intent to bid the road construction portion of it out in the fall of next year.
Next fall, right? Is
Yeah,
that
so,
right?
yeah, 2025, so
Yes.
I think August or sometime around there is when it's expected to bid out.
We're moving. Yeah.
You'll see me dancing in
Yeah,
the
I know.
street. On the sidewalk, on the
There you
new
go.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve.
Yeah. I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your work. Aaron,
Yeah, but Brian can come join me.
I have a hand, it's just additional information showing the appropriation and where information, or where money's coming from, so I can hand these out for these next two. Then I have a little more information on the first one.
is this the shoreline restoration project?
This is the short one.
Yep. Okay.
This is one of those learning processes from the new board pack. We just didn't get this uploaded.
Civic Plus.
Civic Plus.
Civic
that's
Plus.
what I meant.
There, yeah, you're doing great.
CP.
Oh, boy. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
So what
Yeah,
do
and part of, with the Civic Plus and just in general, I mean, these were coded engineering. They are stormwater, both of the next two actions fall under stormwater, so whatever meaningfulness that is to you guys to understand, that's fine. Collaborative effort to get it all done. So, I'll start out, and Brian can interject with his additional information. At the last Board of Works meeting, we opened, we received quotes for the shoreline restoration project, which includes work at the Kiwanis Park and the Pike Lake shorelines. The quote we received from G&G Hauling and Excavating in the amount of $121,020.10 has been reviewed and determined to be responsive with a responsible contractor, and basically here today to recommend the board award this contract. But before then, a piece of the information that I think that Brian just handed out that's worth noting.
So Dan, if I misspeak here, please correct me, but the Watershed Foundation locally has received some grant monies, and they are willing to reimburse us 75% of the cost of this shoreline restoration. I did not get this memo till yesterday, so it'll be on the next Board of Works for approval, acceptance. There's not a grant or anything we have to apply to, so I didn't come to you to ask for it. They are willing to give us that money through a grant they have received for these types of projects. So just so, that's roughly in the $90,000 range, so 75% of that total cost will be reimbursed to the city of Warsaw. We will pay it up front. We have that money in our budget, but then we will get about 90,000 of that back.
That's good news.
And frankly, whether you bring that to the next Board of Works or not, it was noted in this memo about that, and we just now got the official document from the watershed. So you can determine if you need that action next meeting or not, but we're still here today to request your approval to award that.
The recommendation is to give it to G&G Hauling for $121,020.10.
Exactly.
Also the alert, how it can be influenced through this grant. Very good. Okay. Any questions from the board?
Okay. I would make a motion that we approve awarding this bid in the amount of $121,020.10 to G&G Hauling.
Motion to approve,
Second.
and there's a second. Any further comments? Good? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you for that one.
I
And
guess,
that's-
do you want to see that letter on the next Board of Works for an official?
Yeah, bring
You
it to
accept
us. I think it's a positive thing.
I've seen
Thank you
it.
for doing that.
And then this is a little more information on the next item.
This is Kelly Park,
Kelly Park, Chamber of Three.
change order number 3.
Thank you.
Quite frank, I'll allow you to, you do most of these anyway. I just happened to do the paperwork and got it on the agendas.
So this is really wrapping up the Kelly Pond project, making some final quantity adjustments. For an increase of,
$3,865. And making the new contract $500,930.70, if I'm looking at it correctly.
correct.
Does this safety fencing go up and then it comes down when it's completed, or?
Yeah, this is up on the sled hill, so that the sled hill can be used this winter.
Okay.
But they kind of dug a big hole in it and put all this really wet material in there to dry out, and it is not dry enough to regrade yet, so this will block that area off so that nobody gets in there
From the dredging?
and still allow.
Yeah, and I just, to clarify, you know, the fencing is being paid for. We needed it to construct the Kelly Park Pond project. And since it was already on site and we recognize the need to put it up on the top of that hill, that's kind of a separate thing that G&G's working with the city to allow us to borrow that fencing, if you will, for the time being. So, but what we're paying them for was the use of it for the Kelly Park.
Okay, that makes sense.
Any other questions?
No. I'll move we approve the change order.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Brian. Next item, lease agreement. Chief, thank you.
Yeah, I apologize for not having a cover letter. Again, Civic Plus is a little confusing to me. So what's in front of you is just a lease with, between our CARES and Fellowship Missions for the amount of $400 a month. And actually, it's on two different items. It's the same lease for two different office spaces. So we decided to separate those leases in case some space became available in the fire department, that we could move one of the CARES personnel out of that office, but still have one downtown if they need one as well. So through a partnership with Fellowship Missions, that is what the request is for.
$400 a month.
$400 a month for, do you want to do it two separate items since it's that way
It
on
would be
here?
your, whatever you would recommend.
Yeah, so we'll just do it as two. So one says office space number 4, so we'll start with that one then. The city attorney did look over it as well. Yeah,
So this first one is office space number 4.
number 4, correct.
And the agreement is for $400 a month, $4,800 for the year, for the 12-month time.
Correct, yes, it is a 12-month lease.
Right.
With the option that either Fellowship Missions or CARES could give a 30-day written notice to get out of the agreement.
Okay.
Well, it's a very nice space. I got
Yes.
to tour it. So I would make a motion that we accept this lease agreement.
Second that.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right, Chief, what else are we looking at?
The next item is the exact same lease, except for office space number 6. Same terms,
Yeah,
same
so if you
price.
Go to the third,
everything.
right, Office 6, and again, this amount,
Is the same?
it's, yes, it's the same, 400
Correct, yes.
a month and 4,800 for a 12-month period,
That is correct,
with the 30 days in there. okay?
with the 30 days in there, yep.
All right, so the only difference is it's office space number 6. Good, thank you for that. I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Make a motion that we accept this lease for office space.
I'll second
Okay,
that.
there's a motion and a second. Scott?
So I just have one point for clarification. So, as sometimes happens, leases get presented and the date you're going to actually enter into the lease becomes different when it's got to be approved by the boards and they can get everything worked out. So what I notice in these two leases is there's a little bit of inconsistency on when exactly the start date is intended to be. Joel, I think we should clarify that as part of this term, because in some places it say it begins the first day of September, others the first day of October. I don't know whether there's anybody in that space now. What is the beginning date that you intend for it to say, so it's consistent on both office number 4 and office number 6?
Yeah, so there was a lot of moving parts and pieces as Fellowship was moving their offices over there, because they do have offices there as well. But the CARES actually did move in there in September. So I believe that's why you see the September, is because that's when the lease started to be made. And then the actual agreement for the time frame is from October to October. And it just gave us, again, some time to get the lease wrote and come to the agreement, because there was some back and forth a little bit between Eric and I. But again, a good partnership. It's a decent space for the CARES team right downtown where they need to be. And again, so
It's like Scott said at the top, it said made on the first day of September, but it begins October 1st.
correct.
And you're comfortable?
Yeah,
with
I'm
that?
comfortable with that. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
That makes sense what Joel's telling me. I just wanted
Okay,
it to
good.
be.
So basically, under section 2.1, we started paying in September, but we were not yet under lease until
Correct.
October 1.
Have we paid any of the payments yet?
I believe we were waiting on the lease to
So
get signed,
when-
and then they would
the
invoice
claim
us.
will have September, October, and November on it?
Correct, I believe so.
Lynn, good?
Guess so.
Okay. Okay.
So do we need to change anything?
No, I think that you're
Just
approving this
clarification.
lease. I just wanted to make sure we were all, had the questions answered about the different dates, and now it's November 1st. But they've been there and working with the fellowship missions, and they sound like they've gotten along, and just took a while to get this approved by you all.
Okay.
So I think we're in good shape. We do have a motion and a second. We do not need to amend or do anything on this one or the one previously. Any further comments?
Nope.
I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Yep.
Next color. Another one, Chief. It looks
Yep.
like a grant here.
Yep, so I will bring up Michaela from
Michaela.
CARES, just because she's the expert in this.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we are just requesting permission to apply for a grant with the K21 Health Foundation. CARES offers QPR trainings. That stands for Question, Persuade, Refer, and it's a suicide prevention training. The grant is to purchase these little books that are required for us to hand out when we do the training. So that's all that we're requesting for, is the books to be able to continue offering that training to spread the word of suicide prevention.
So the grant would pay for the
Correct.
entire bill.
For the books, yep.
I was excited to see that you're anticipating being able to reach 1,000 people with this. That would be,
They did say that if we were not able to do that in 2025, that anything could be used for the next year. But we do think there are a lot of people interested in learning more.
yes. Yeah, and I hope the average citizen takes advantage of this.
Yeah. So the request is permission to move forward with this grant opportunity.
Yes, permission to apply.
To apply, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, there's a motion to approve that request. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Thank you. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good. Chief, you're still up here.
Yeah, I'm still up here. One more, again, a permission to apply for a grant, and I will bring up Captain Drew Schilling, who is also our dive commander for the fire department.
Captain, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Good.
So I'm here to request permission to apply for a grant also from K-21. As you know, our dive team is part of a joint dive team with City PD and Sheriff's Office. The fire department is looking to purchase a underwater ROV, remotely operated vehicle. This is equipped with cameras, lights, sonar. So as we're doing rescues or recoveries, as we're identifying targets with our boat-mounted sonar, we can use this to confirm what that target is. Manpower is always our finite resource that we have. So as opposed to sending divers down, especially in deep water, to do a bunch of bounce dives, we can send this down, confirm what it is, use the grabber arm that's on there to lock onto our target, and our diver can just follow the tether down, find it. It's much safer, more efficient for our divers, and hopefully we can resolve the situations quicker, which is better for the families involved as well. So, the grant's for $57,428. I'm asking for 100% from K-21, so there's no cost from the city.
Thank you. Any questions?
Looks like quite an apparatus.
Yeah, it's a, you know, we've embraced aerial drones. Both PD and fire has one. It's basically the same thing, only underwater. We're keeping up with technology as it advances to be a better team. So.
Any other questions?
I think 1,000 feet will be sufficient for our lakes around here. So.
Well beyond what we.
Yeah. I'd make a motion that we approve permission to apply for this grant from K-21.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Travel request, Denny.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
We've got 3 travel requests, one from our fire marshal to go to the Fire Inspector Association Annual Training Conference, and then 2 from our police department, both related to school safety.
Now, one good thing about this new program is you can actually read these this time.
Actually, that's a good point. 157%. You're right.
To the new
I
hire
can read
report.
it, yeah.
That's so easy.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Any questions for Denny on these 3?
No, I'll move we approve the travel requests.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it, thank you. Next item is new hire and change in payroll report. Denny?
Yes, we have 2 individuals on this report. We have Jackson Hastings, who is a part-time firefighter that's going to be moving to full-time probationary firefighter. And then a new mechanic for the street department.
I'll make a motion, we approve these new hires. I'm excited about both of them.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thanks,
Thank you.
Danny. Next item, Chief, good morning.
Good morning. The police department is requesting authorization to enter into 2 separate 60-month agreements with Axon Enterprises Incorporated. This for the purchase, maintenance, and cloud storage for both in-car and body-worn cameras. We are looking to do a full transition, and in doing so, we'll be receiving a total savings of $135,639.86. You've received both the agreements, the 60-month agreements in the amount of $424,539, and the second in the amount of $239,718.64. Also included with the letter to the board is the 2 letters from City Attorney Scott Royce. And since Scott is with us today, I'll let him speak to those letters.
Yeah, so I reviewed both contracts, and in both contracts, they're getting government discounts. And I think additionally, and I didn't put it in the letter, but they're a sole source provider as well. They are the manufacturer and sole source provider of this body camera. And speaking with some people also at the police department, it's a pretty slick setup. They also are linked to the tasers that they have. So if a taser's, I think if it's pulled out of its holster or something, it makes sure that the body camera comes on as well. So those are certainly things in interaction you want to make sure that there's body camera. Is that correct, Scott? That they
Correct.
link
And,
to
and we were
tasers as
looking
well?
at transitioning to a different company. Axon's been the preferred choice. At this time, based upon the fact that we hadn't purchased any cameras yet in 2024, had funds budgeted for 2024 and 2025 in the law enforcement or the law continuing education accounts budgets, and then the opioid monies that were the forgot the terminology for it. The unrestricted opioid funds, yes. Using those funds from 2024 and 2025 allows us not to have to pull funds from the police budget. We won't be asking for any additional appropriations in 2024 or 2025. We will be requesting, obviously through council, to these annual amounts moving forward in 2026 through 2029. But we do believe, and part of the savings, to be transparent, is that we do have outstanding amount of, I believe, $40,000 to Digital Ally for the body cameras. And part of that savings is to offset that cost that we're, with that current contractual agreement we have with Digital Ally.
Do those cameras just go back to them then, the ones you have right now, or how does that work?
No, the cameras are our property, so.
Okay.
If I remember right, when we talked months ago, this is very sound equipment, and also, he mentioned the taser, but also the body camera in the car, they communicate with each other, which you
Yes,
had
you have
issues
to, you certainly
with
have to
that
have the
before.
in-car camera and the body camera. They have to have those together, even though they're 2 separate purchases.
Right.
They obviously,
And the 2 units communicate much more effectively than what you have now. They work together.
correct. The
Is that correct?
software, this company this is a large,
Right.
the most widely used company in the country when it comes to law enforcement, body cams and in-car cameras. And the company that we've been with is just a small company, and we're just not getting the service that we expect, so.
Sound equipment, very good service, serving people within our jurisdiction, the serve and protect. This equipment will not only help every citizen that is dealing with a law enforcement issue, but as importantly, it'll protect our law enforcement officers too, so, yeah, good.
Correct. We have experienced, minor issues, but still, it could be significant issues with the current system that we have, with just the system shutting off, and officers not aware that the camera's not on, and we certainly want to avoid those occasions as much as possible. We think this system gives us the best chance for success.
Right. That's what I remember us talking about, and I really appreciate you working through all of this, and thanks for your help, and
Yeah,
I firmly believe the right thing to do, so.
Additionally, in talking with some of the officers who are dealing with this, and my own experience with looking at a lot of body cameras, is the battery power is better for the newer equipment. It's more consistent, it lasts longer, it'll stay charged longer, and make sure, it would not be great if you're on shift and you don't have a battery that still will operate your camera. So this is supposed to help that as well. So,
And at 2.5 years into this agreement, the body cameras will all be replaced as part of this agreement.
I remember that too, very good point. 60, it's a 60-month agreement,
Correct.
but there is a point where it will
Halfway.
be upgraded, so it isn't gonna be the old equipment. And again, this, according to the chief, this is top-of-the-line stuff to
And for the
protect
boards,
community and help the officers.
just to note, we did look at and evaluated potentially running off of 2 systems, one with perhaps detectives, SROs, admin, and then patrol in a separate. But obviously, when they came back with the full transition discount, it just seemed to be the best interest for us just to make that full transition at this time.
And is there anything in the contract to add additional cameras? Should we be
Yes,
in that
well,
good
it's,
position?
so we are purchasing the least amount of cameras that we possible. So 43 for the cars. That will include our spare cars that are actively spares.
Okay.
And then the body cameras, the 39 for the 39 current officers on staff. With the idea, as we get to 43, we'll obviously be adding 4 more cameras.
That's what I wanted to know, yeah.
Right. And so that will be additional, but they will prorate that, is my understanding. So, it's just going to be prorated into this agreement.
Okay. So do we need 2 separate motions because it's 2 separate contracts?
yeah, I would move to approve each contract.
Okay.
So you have the in-car camera system, there's an amount.
You can have one motion, but your motion should say we approve both contracts.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve the 43 in-car camera systems in the amount of $424,539, and the second contract for 39 body-worn cameras in the amount of $239,718.64 to Axon Enterprises Incorporated.
Any good with that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thanks, Diane. Is there a second? It's
pretty articulate.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Thanks, Chief. Any further comments?
No.
No. Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Pay app. Is this the restroom, training facility restroom project at the PD? Aaron,
Yep,
comments?
On behalf of the PD, I've been working with them to administer the construction improvements here. Before you, I request approval of pay app number 3 for $14,246.00. A little bit of commentary before the project. It's been a good project. The restrooms are useful, but we are still working through some punch list items, and we hold a nice retainage here that will ensure we get everything we need satisfied before full payment is made to Robinson on this. But they're continuing to work towards resolving the things that are outstanding on it. And so it'd be my recommendation to approve this pay app as stated.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, I'll move to approve pay app number 3 for WPT training facility as requested.
Thanks, George. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Diane. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Street Department, Dustin.
So- These
Looks like an
might
agreement
need it
with
this
Warsaw
year.
Community Schools.
Yes, just the memorandum of understanding here for winter materials for salt use, or salt for snow removal, as well as some liquid alternatives and such. This is something we've done for multiple years here, but we have obtained said materials through competitive bidding process, as we got your permission earlier in the year, back in March, to go through the statewide bid. We are storing the salt as it is delivered when we order it, and we do load the trucks for Warsaw Community Schools. We've worked with them for, like I said, many years. Pretty simple agreement, so.
Thank you.
Another example of community partnerships. So I'll make a motion that we approve this memorandum of understanding.
I'll second.
Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Celebrity out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, Santa's already out there.
Santa's here.
It's a little early.
That makes me so happy.
Street Department.
Yeah, next one, back in August, I believe we got your permission to apply for the Railroad Grade Crossing Fund grant. And we have received notification that we were awarded the grant on October 17th. So now we're just seeking your approval to accept the NDOT. It is a 100% reimbursable grant in the amount of $46,000. So this grant award will put new thermoplastic pavement warning markings at 23 different railroad crossings within the corporate city limits for next year.
100% reimbursable.
Absolutely. Win-win.
Yeah, perfect. I'll move to accept before they change their mind.
And I'll second that with a thank you for going after this grant.
You bet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good point. Thanks, Diane. Motion and a second to accept. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
And third and final one here is the payment application number 2 for Niblock Excavating in the amount of $392,493.42 for road work that has been done in the North Lincoln Street, Hodges Phase 3 of that neighborhood, but Phase 2 of the project. So just asking for, this has been reviewed by our engineering firm as well as our local engineering and engineering assistant, as well as myself. So just asking your approval of the pay app at $392,493.42.
I'll make a motion that we approve pay application number 2 for the Hodges Addition project.
Second?
Thanks again, Dustin, all your work and leadership on this. Entertain a motion then to, there's a motion and a second?
Yeah, we did.
I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Just a quick note on that project, that is part of our Community Crossings 50/50 matching grant project as well. So again, that is a 50% matching grant. Project is going along very smoothly. We've had a couple minor adjustments, but for the most part has been relatively painless. So curbs, the base asphalt's in on 2/3 of it, just the entrance back out to Sheridan Street from Lindbergh to there will be the final portion, which again, substantial completion set to be like November 29th. So moving right along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wastewater, Brian?
So the first one is with the aquatic weed control for stocking of fish in the Kelly Pond that we recently redid. You can see on the, I believe it's the 3rd page, maybe 2nd page, the fish that they're going to put in there. The bluegill, the bass, the catfish, and some fathead minnows.
330 fish and 2,000 minnows. It sounds like a good deal.
Sounds like it's gonna be a well-stocked pond.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Golly.
can use that deep sea tracker or whatever to
Man.
check out the fish.
So just like a weird question, are they gonna need a fishing license to fish in that pond?
Yes, you would need a license to
I
fish.
just was
It's-
wondering.
Wow.
Other than the free fishing days.
Yes.
That's true, we do have free fishing days, and I imagine the park department will have some kind of opportunity once these guys grow up.
That project is, if you ever get a chance to go down there and check it out, it
Oh, it's
really
so nice.
transformed that area. I remember as a kid fishing in that pond and we're
My
able
kids did
to
too.
do that again.
With no
so.
license.
Neat. Yeah.
Well, I'll move we approve the contract.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. And another item.
It again is with the aquatic weed control, and this is for weed control in that pond, just to keep it in good shape, keep the weeds at a desired level. You obviously need a few, but we don't want to see them overtake the pond.
Any questions for Brian?
Nope, gotta have that one, keeps fish alive, so I'll make a motion we approve that contract.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to accept. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. And we'll continue on. Brian, what else do you have?
The next one's with Graycraft Signs. We're going to be putting up 12 signs at various locations. So 4 of them are going to be there at Center Lake along that walking trail, kind of explaining a few different things, what's going along the shoreline. And then the rest will be over at Pike Lake, where we did all the restoration, starting at Lucerne Park and working its way around to the beach. We've actually done several different shoreline restoration, stabilization treatments around that portion, so it's going to kind of explain what each area is. And, you know, people can kind of see some possibilities if they want to do something at their own property, some of the different options. So that's what those signs are going to be for.
12 total.
12 total.
Okay.
Are they all new signs, or are you replacing some?
There are none there existing.
There were none
They're
there,
all
no.
new signs.
That's nice. Built to last, I assume?
Yep, they're an outdoor sign. Obviously, they only have a lifespan, but they
They're
should
kind of
last
similar
several
to the
years.
ones we put along the Pike Lake Boardwalk, and they'll be like that, educational in nature, explaining what people are seeing and, yeah.
Well, I'll move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
There's a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. And Wessler Engineering, is that right?
So this is for putting together our next package for lining and maintenance that we're getting ready to put out. The engineering involved, putting the packet together and getting that on the street. We continue, you know, in 17, I believe it was, we did like a $30 million project where our goal is not to get back in that, or a $10 million project, I'm sorry. To get back into that situation where we need to do that, we try to invest several $100,000 every year maintaining or restoring damage. That 10 million project addressed much of what we call a grade 5, which is the worst, so it's a 1 to 5 rating. We're working on a lot of the 4s at this point, trying to restore those.
So are these new pipes that haven't been examined yet, or?
Yes, we have 100% completed the sanitary side, and by the end of this year, we'll have 100% of the storm. We have found the storm was much more challenging than the sanitary. Maybe that was a surprise to us, but we are wrapping up the last few segments of the storm right now.
Okay.
And, you know, to pat our guys on the back, you know, we're one of the few communities that have done that with their underground infrastructure. A few have, but they were mandated through an agreed order or something to do it. But we're trying to be proactive, trying to maintain what we have. We've been able to fix several drainage issues just repairing what's already in the ground. Remember all the flooding that used to occur at the Center Lake Park and where they do the concerts? We pretty much have eliminated that. It may flood for a second, but it goes away a lot quicker. I remember shutting the park down, kids swimming out in that grassy area. There was another area over on, is that Prairie Street? There's a nursing home over there. It used to kind of flood in the street there. That was due to a broken force main, or where the force main dumped into, so the water is pretty much just going in a circle. We fixed that. That was a 6-figure project. We were looking at a new pump station, but we've pretty well eliminated the need to replace that and upgrade it, so.
Same
It's a
on
good
Sunset,
investment
yeah.
to do these things and to try to be proactive with. And as the city grows, you know, our infrastructure in the middle was, some of it was put in 1900 and we're still using it today. And as things grow outside the city, it's still flowing through some of those original pipes to get to us, so.
I think this is a great protection of the unique city that Warsaw is, having our lakes, because this is what it protects. All that stormwater ends up there somehow, some way. So I'd make a motion that we approve this contract.
Second, I'll second.
Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Good point, sir. And
Speaking of Prairie Street,
So this is Prairie and Lake. We opened bids last Board of Works. G&G was the low bid, only bid. The engineer estimate was 333,000 round numbers, and they came in at 387,000, so they were competitive with what the engineer estimated. This area, there's some broken down pipe, but then also, if you go out there, there are many structures that kind of goes around the whole intersection and then goes back the way it just came from. So we're kind of cleaning up that whole area. We've had some voids in pipes and voids under the streets in these areas. So we're just rehabbing this entire intersection, cleaning it up and making it work more efficiently.
so you're
questions?
recommending approval of this
We
contract?
are, I am recommending approval of this.
I'll make a motion that we approve this contract with Westler Engineering.
And just to note, we did
G&G, I
have
mean.
pre-bid meetings and had several contractors come to it. Several had planned designs. It was an open bid, and luckily, we got a good competitive bid out of that process, so.
Yes, sir, I should have meant that I was reading the engineering report when
Yeah.
I made that.
All right.
I make a motion that we award this bid to G&G Hauling in the amount of $387,404.35.
thanks, Diane.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Brian, thanks. Claims.
No special, I assume?
Nothing
anything?
special. No, once I figured out how to open them, I was good.
Yeah, I just found them, so yeah, so, any comments, Lynn?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was sort of spaced out. There's 3 different ones, sir. There's the regular and the end of the month and the pension dockets.
Do you have any questions, Jeff?
I looked through everything. I didn't see anything too outlandish or incorrect.
Thanks, Lynn. Motion to accept.
Yes, I will move that we accept all 3 claims dockets as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion to accept all as presented in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. And that looks like we're at the end of the meeting. Are there any questions or comments? I really appreciate.
Just like to thank Mr. Sloan for dressing up today.
It does look
I'll
pretty
second
good.
that.
I won't ask you to stand, all right, but yeah, you're looking
Would
pretty
you
good.
like us to take a picture of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a picture of you for once, David.
Yeah. But everybody for being here today, sitting through the meeting, lots of items here. Dustin, I'll put you on the spot. Why don't you come on up front? And fall is here, leaves are flying all over the place. Do you have any comments about leaf pickup, how we can be good neighbors to you and your staff when it comes to pickup as we head into the month
Sure.
of November?
Yeah, leaf pickup officially starts next week, so we will be picking up on residents' normal trash day. Just a quick reminder to keep sticks out of them as much as possible. They do plug up the leaf pickers, plug up the hoses, tear them up. So if we could keep sticks out of them and also keep them behind the curb. So many times we see people put them out into the street. Well, then we get some rain and it looks like rain next week, thankfully. But then it starts to clog the storm drains and create some flooding issues. So if we can keep them back, it's kind of hectic right now. There's a lot of leaves coming down. The wind has really been blowing, so we'll move through it as fast as we can. But again, on your normal trash day, we will be staying late as needed, working till dark. So we'll get them picked up as
Normal
timely as
trash
we can.
day, out to the curb, keep it off the street, no trash in it. What if there's an alley? Do you want, so like if I.
They can put them in the alley. We
So-
pick up in the alley. We'll run the leaf pickers down the alley as well, so.
So if it's easier for the resident to get it to the
Sure.
alley, go to the alley, indoor street, and you
Yeah.
guys will pick it up.
Yep, they can take front yard to the
Right.
street and backyard, side yards to the alley, whatever is easiest, we'll work around it as best we can. So.
And that starts next week.
We've been running for a couple of weeks, just kind of a little more sporadically, to try to help out and get, the overachievers that had them raked out early. We went, to get those as much as we can.
Are you saying
Lynn was another
in
one, so.
particular?
Yeah.
But yeah, officially starts next week, so.
Thanks,
Everyone is
Dustin.
invited to come to
Thank
my
you.
house to leaf blower
Yeah, you-
and help out.
yeah. Any other questions or comments? Without any, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Is there a second?
I'll
All in
second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Have a great weekend.
Did you wake up?
Thank you. David, are you sure you don't want a couple photos?
Hey, Justin?
One for his mom or something. I need to slide that. I hate getting all